So for those creators out there who get paid by DJI to make videos and you say that the DJI blows away the GoPro, I'm sorry, but I completely disagree with you. This video is a follow-up to my comparison of the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 to the DJI Action 5 to the GoPro Hero 12 in this case, just like the 13 has the same sensor. So in this video, we're going to be doing the mountain bike test. The other one got a little long. I'll put a link to that one below. I just uploaded it recently. That one I talked about the differences, the features that I like about the Ace Pro 2, and then I did a vlog test. So this one we're going to hit the trails and we're going to look at the field of view, the image quality, and the stabilization. So we're starting off with the GoPro. Obviously, as you can tell, I'm going to be using these chest mounted because that's how I normally mountain bike with the cameras. And I'm riding my hardtail today, which means on the rooty downhills, I'm going to get bounced around a whole lot more than I would on my full suspension. But it's a really good test of the stabilization. There was one rooty downhill that I'm going to repeat with all three cameras. In my prior tests of the GoPro and DJI, I chose the GoPro because it had the best field of view with the best stabilization. The DJI, if you put it on Rock Steady Plus, it crops in too much for my liking for mountain biking. With the GoPro, I'm using Super View. That's my preferred field of view. It's very wide, but Hyper View is too wonky on the edges. The Super View setting is got the best field of view without being too distorted on the edges. Now over to the DJI, and actually a fourth comparison that I'll be doing is the audio. I do like the audio coming out of the DJI better than the GoPro. So I'm using the foam windscreen on all of these because it just gives the best audio. I hate using wind reduction. I use stereo with the foam windscreen. So the DJI, I'm shooting in ultra wide, but I'm using Rock Steady, not Rock Steady Plus. Rock Steady Plus is the best stabilization, but it crops in way too much. It's the deal breaker for me, honestly. I know DJI is coming out with a lens to widen the view, but that's just not practical for me because I like taking the camera off, shooting like a more narrow field of view when I do like talking in front of it, and then putting it back on the chest mount. And I'm just not going to be swapping lenses when I do that. So it's just not an option. Now we're over to the Insta360. I'm shooting in Action view, which is their widest view. And I've got it on the highest stabilization, which crops in a little bit, but not a whole lot. Nothing like the DJI. Still on fairly mellow XC trails. Starting to get a few more hills. The next test I'll do with these is repeat that one downhill I was talking about. It's short, it's only like 30 seconds, but it has a lot of roots and it's about a 10% downgrade. So let me know in the comments what you think about the video quality, stabilization, even the audio. Would love to hear your thoughts. We'll see if this Insta360 can match the GoPro stabilization. So I mentioned in my first video comparing these three that I just uploaded that the Insta360 is the biggest of the three cameras and it weighs the most, but on the chest mount I really don't notice it. It's like 25-30 grams more than the GoPro, but don't notice it a whole lot. All right, so we're over to the GoPro. We're gonna test the downhill. Just met a subscriber from Alabama who's down here riding, Jeff. Shout out to you, Jeff. So this downhill, I actually get bounced around on a hardtail more than a full suspension in the mountains. I've had the DJI more stable on rough downhills in the mountains if I'm on an enduro bike than on this hill. So let's see how it does. So the GoPro has already proved to be more stable than the DJI on this section. We're gonna go back up and we're gonna repeat that on each camera. And now over to the DJI. So this is, I know this is a repeat of what I've done in the comparison of these two cameras because it was the same section, but I want to make this all in one video, comprehensive. So we'll see if we get this, the jitters that I got on the first time on the DJI on this rooty downhill. You can't see the roots because of all of these, but I feel them. They're here. All right, like I said, super short, but real good test of stabilization. By the way, if this kind of video is helpful for you, just give me a thumbs up on the video if you don't mind, because it's a pain in the butt to stop all the time and switch cameras. Okay, Insta360, same section. We'll check the field of view and we'll see how stabilization is on this rooty downhill. And now over to the GoPro, and for the rest of this test I'm going to be comparing these two, the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 and the GoPro, because I've already ruled that I would choose the GoPro over the DJI. So I mentioned the one-touch recording, which just means when the camera's off, you hit the record button, it'll start. That on the DJI and the Ace Pro 2, it'll stay on for a few seconds after you hit the record button to stop it. That way you can start another clip without the camera shutting down, which is not on the GoPro Hero 12. I actually don't know if that's on the 13. Y'all let me know in the comments below, but kind of a handy feature. I'm going to do this little section with each of the two cameras, the GoPro and the Ace Pro 2, because it's just another, we don't have a lot of good downhills here. It's winter time. I'm not making trips to the mountains right now, so we're going to have to test these little downhills that we get. This one's got some roots in it. Not quite as many as the one before, but a little faster actually. Less turns. Same section on the Ace Pro 2. Again, checking field of view, image quality, stabilization, and audio. Like I said, we're still using the foam windscreen. See how the audio is for this. Well, can't tell, it's a beautiful day here. It's about 50 degrees and sunny. A little bit of wind, just perfect mountain bike weather. No, flat color, no foam windscreen, wind reduction on. How is this? Gonna pick it up a little bit here. See how this is. Still shooting in flat color profile, wind reduction on, no foam windscreen. How is the audio? How is my voice? This bike is so fun to ride. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the mountain bike test. When I get back to my studio, I'll talk about which one I felt was better. So final little test here is just taking the camera off the chest mount and holding it out in front, which I do a lot. Now I will say with the Insta360, I did need to remove this because when I flip up the screen, this the foam windscreen kind of gets pushed in front of the lens. Now, because the field of view is so wide, I really don't need to flip up the screen. I know where to hold the action camera, but I still like this screen. Like for vlogging, this thing is great. I love it. So I'm going to switch over to the GoPro. And now over to the GoPro. So let me know in the comments what you think about each of these three cameras. Again, video quality, stabilization, field of view, and audio. Would really love to hear your opinion on how it comes across on YouTube, because sometimes, like on a monitor at home, it'll look completely different than it does on YouTube. And since I have a YouTube channel, that's what I use these cameras for. So let's get back to the studio. I'll analyze the clips and let you know what I think. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up real quick by giving you my thoughts, but I wanna hear your thoughts based on the phone, tablet, monitor that you're watching it on, whatever, because there are two cameras that I'm having a hard time choosing between. So as I go through these real quick, I'm gonna break it down in a few different categories. First of all, stabilization and image quality. I still feel like the GoPro is the king of stabilization and smoothness, followed closely by the Ace Pro 2, then the DJI. Now, like I said many times, I could go with the highest stabilization on the DJI Action 5, but it would crop it in too much, and I will not use that. Now, you saw a few little jitters in the Ace Pro 2, but when I was riding up in the North Georgia mountains with the DJI in that medium stabilization, it was still okay. So that was kind of an extreme scenario with roots and a hardtail. So I feel like the Ace Pro 2 would be okay in the mountains, but if I had to pick a winner for stabilization, it is the GoPro. I also felt like the GoPro had the more natural look. Now I will say that I tried the picture profile, the Leica natural picture profile this morning with the Ace Pro 2, and it was good. So when I do my full review of the Ace Pro 2, I'm gonna show the different picture profiles, so that's a really nice option. The flat picture profile I felt is okay. It's a nice option, but I still would just shoot right out of the camera from the Ace Pro 2. The DJI, to me, I just do not like the image coming out of the DJI. In fact, I went back and watched some of the footage between the DJI and the GoPro that I shot a few months ago when I was filming my Transition Sentinel review, and the GoPro was hands down the winner if you had to pick a picture profile, a look coming out of the camera. So for those creators out there who get paid by DJI to make videos and you say that the DJI blows away the GoPro, I'm sorry, but I completely disagree with you. Another category, one-touch recording. So this morning I tested all three cameras. One-touch recording with the DJI, the camera comes on in 2 seconds, the GoPro in 5, and the Ace Pro 2 in 6 seconds. So the DJI wins as far as bringing the camera on with one-touch recording. Now, if you're talking about features, which I can't go into in this video, but I will in my full review of the Ace Pro 2, the Ace Pro 2 is hands down the winner as far as accessories and camera features, but like I said, I'll show that in my full review. Let's talk about white balance. I used auto white balance on all three cameras in this test. The GoPro makes the image too warm in some scenes, so you really have to use manual white balance on the GoPro to get it right, which means you're also gonna have to adjust it depending on different scenes. I felt like the Action 5 and the Ace Pro 2 managed white balance much better in the auto setting. And then finally, let's talk about audio. With these foam windscreens, which I have one for each camera, they're so cheap. You can get them $5 off Amazon. I felt the audio was great from all three cameras. If I had to pick a winner, I would say it would be the DJI, maybe the Ace Pro 2. They're very similar, and the GoPro would be in third place, but not by much. Again, I felt the audio was good from all three. Now, if you did not want to use a foam windscreen, the Ace Pro 2 is your choice. You saw in that little test that the audio was still pretty good. It switched into that wind reduction mode where it sounds like you're underwater just for a split second, but then came right out of it. So you can use that without the foam windscreen even when you're riding. Now, if you're just walking out and about, you really don't need a foam windscreen on the Ace Pro 2. So that is also something to consider. All right, that's my real quick wrap up. Let me know what you think, and I will follow this video up in a couple weeks with a full review of the Ace Pro 2 and show you all the features that I really like. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.